got married on the beach in Bahamas with a minister with a non-religious ceremony.
Right.
And then I came back to Trinidad and I got married in the church. Would something like that be all right? Why would you say, what would be?
Well, your wife is Catholic, is not?
Yes.
So what are you all doing? What are you all doing?
Okay, right. So good question. We wanted to elope.
Oh.
So we wanted to have a wedding where
So we had a time lapse.
Right. So we wanted
So when you came to your senses, you grew up a little bit, then you came back and got married in the church.
No. I wanted to avoid the whole concept of having a 300 people kind of wedding.
Right.
And for me to be able to do that, what I
You
wanted
eloped.
to do, I eloped.
Okay.
And then I always, for me and my wife, we always knew we wanted to get married in the Catholic Church.
So how long in between these two ceremonies?
1 year.
Okay, so I would consider that a developmental process.
Okay.
You wanted to avoid drama. You knew if your mom was involved or your dad was involved, you knew that's drama. So you avoided the drama. Then you thought better of it and said, you know something, I still want to get married in the church. That's different. So there's a convalidation. So you're married legally, but now we validate your marriage as two Catholics in the Catholic Church and get you now back up to scratch as in terms of a Catholic marriage, which is sacramental because your wife and yourself are Catholics. So that's developmental. But there are some people who so want to get married on a beach that they will go and get married on the beach and come the next day to the church to get married in the church. And what is the real value and significance of marriage? That's the real question. Because if you understand marriage as a covenant between you, your spouse, and God,
Absolutely.
then why we get married, go to the beach and take your pictures? You know? But if God is important, then God has to be important from the beginning. Which is different from your case where you got married trying to escape the drama.
But first of all, to me, God is always there, regardless if in the church or not. And I know He's always looking over us. And the second thing is, I know that it wasn't about necessarily not causing drama. For me, it was about I'm getting married to my wife, and the Lord is looking over. And I wanted to do this with her and her alone, privately, quietly.
And why didn't it in a Catholic church somewhere else in Bahamas?
Because then I could not, in the future, have.
So you play in the system?
Yes.
Oh, you know the system and you're playing it.
And I'm trying to play the system. I guess that's very controversial. But I had a plan.
Come on.
I had a plan. And the plan, I believe the plan worked out really nicely in the end. It was really, both were very beautiful. But a lot of people have approached me because some have really liked it. And I want to understand the correct way of how it is felt in the Catholic Church.
Many people think that a wedding has to be this big elaborate event.
Exactly.
And it does not. What really you need, bride, groom, 2 witnesses, a priest. That's it, eh? That's it. We've made it into such a big thing that people are delaying marriage because they can't afford the ceremony or they can't afford the event. It has nothing to do with the event. It has to do with you, your spouse, and God. That's really what it is. But in many families, by the time parents and in-laws get involved, you reach to 300, 400 and it keeps climbing and it's drama.
Exactly.
Okay? So
it no longer becomes about
it's no more intimate. It's not what you want. It's what everybody else throwing in that they want. And then they say, well, I paying for, so this one have to come too. And that's the drama I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Okay. But that could be done in a Catholic church anywhere in the world. It could be done here, quietly in a Catholic church. And then, when you're ready to settle down, have an event at your first anniversary where you do a renewal of vows, and have an event.
What we did.
And then have your event.
Except we added the Catholic Church part to it.
Well, so at your first anniversary, you could get married in the Catholic Church, you could do a renewal of vows in the Catholic Church and then have an event for whoever you want. But if God is important, keep him important right through.
Definitely. So let's talk about bringing children into the world. So in the instance where you are not married, this is not my case, but in the instance where someone is not married, someone is married in the Catholic Church, but both sides are different religions. One is a non-Catholic, and one is a Catholic, and one is a non-Catholic. When a child is brought into the world, you will have two options now on the table. What is the correct way to go about that?
Long before you get married, you should decide that.
Okay, so if both of them put it on the table, we'll let the child choose, but we will give them the both options.
Yeah, well, let's let the child choose the brand of toothpaste too, and which school they're going to. I think the child should choose that also. And why don't we, while we're doing it, let the child choose whether they want to be breastfed or to have formula? Because I think you're making these decisions upon this child is a terrible imposition on a child. So I think if you're going with that philosophy, please don't stick it to religion. Go including which brand of toilet paper. Let's color clothes. Let's go the whole way. Don't stop halfway.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I've never heard more foolishness in my life, you know.
No, I'm just telling you this.
But it's a foolishness that is emerging.
Yes.
Wrong. What gave you the upbringing you have? Your rootedness in your family, your rootedness in the church. That's what gave you the upbringing. Before you get married, if you're getting married in the Catholic Church, before you get married in the Catholic Church, you have to promise that you will bring up your child as a Catholic. It's one of the things you have to promise. If you're not intending to bring up the children as a Catholic, then don't get married in the church. Get married in their church, or in their whatever religion they're in, because it's an important piece of the marriage. For us, a marriage is a unification of the spouses for the procreation and the education of children. So the unification and the procreation and the education are all intermingled in this understanding that we have of marriage. The notion of allowing a child to decide what religion they're going to be, you know, there's so many things that we don't allow children to decide. Why would it be religion? I think a parent has a responsibility for the formation of their child. And that's a parental decision that you should make. It sounds like so what do we need to know? First is that dyslexics come in all the varieties, high IQ and low IQs. They have very high functioning dyslexics. And a high functioning dyslexic is usually extraordinary because of the other things they had to learn to get through the system. Second thing we have to learn is that kids who are having learning problems are not miserable, are not silly, are not dumb, are not foolish. And name calling is the worst thing that we should do. That's the second thing. And so if you have a child and you think the child is dyslexic, dyspraxic, ADHD, or any of these fancy names that they're calling now, that child is a child. It's a child of God. And see that child that way first. Give them incredible dignity. And then we have professionals that help to diagnose. Let's get our kids diagnosed. And the diagnosis is to help to know how we deal with this child through an educational process. And that's really what is important. Every child can learn, but children are stuck in certain things. So there are people like Tim Conway who believe that the neuroplasticity of the brain allows us actually to retrain the brain to compensate or to work around the problem of the dyslexic. So there even that level of understanding now of working with dyslexia. But we have to be aware. In a school in Barbados, one of the Catholic schools, primary schools, I asked the principal, how many children you have here with learning difficulties? She said, none. I said, okay. I walked through the school, and at the end of my tour through the school, I said, okay, now, that classroom upstairs, second classroom, the guy is sitting down to the back on that side. Tell me a little bit about his profile. In the next classroom on, and I said I called about 5 or 6 children I saw. And she said, but how you know? I said, well, I look at the child. I look at the interaction and I see how they're working or not working. A little bit of consciousness And no child should slip through the cracks, because if a child is diagnosed early, we deal with them properly, then that child has every way of growing.